All right, welcome, Internet. This is The Witcher Season 4, Episode 2. And I'm going to read something, and let me show it to all players. Show players. Everybody should see a handout. All right, 1285. The Broken Forest. It had been almost a year since Devnet, the mercenary, had last seen anyone she knew before the coming of the monsters. Carnifax had done it, she reckoned. He had unleashed his horde of monsters across the continent and beyond, all for some kind of reckoning. The number of dead was beyond counting. Maybe if Devnet knew for sure that her friends were dead, there would be some closure. Instead, she wallowed in her grief, her sorrow, in a bottle with men beneath the shadow of solitude. About 4 months ago, she thought she had heard something about Erie, or was it Zavis? It was hard to remember. Yes, Erie. That's what led her to this kingdom, Bruges, mired in the midst of a civil war. Her coin was low, and Devnet felt like killing something. But she was hardly herself, drunk, sluggish, and soft. She hadn't even thrown a dagger in months. The noble who was supposed to pay her had gotten himself killed. His men, along with Devnet, had been routed and fled into the forest. They were all dead now. Only Dev remained of those sorry fools. The elves had not been kind, for no man had ever been kind to them. But Dev was different, and Valeria Ashthorn knew it. The half-elf was taken in instead of executed. She was nursed back to health, though Dev wished for death was near when spirits, wine, and ale were denied her. Dev tried to leave, but they wouldn't allow it. There was moping and anger, but eventually Dev got bored and started becoming herself again. Maybe she's ready to face the world once more. And activate. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we start in Broken Forest. This is the forest north of Bruges.
Hold on, I'm
Yep.
gonna refresh, but all I'm seeing is black. So.
You are on the screen. Let me just
Oh,
make
I am
sure.
on the screen.
Let me see. There, I know what's probably.
I see
the
everyone,
problem.
just not the background.
Yeah, I got it. I know what's wrong. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna just show you the map real quick, so get a kind of an idea. Oh, I need to put you on here. Okay, so if we look at this map, and
Same deal.
yeah, I need to fix your actual character. Vision update.
There we go.
Let me just do that so it's permanent this time. Before I forget again. Shut that down. Prototype token. Vision. Boom. Boom. Alright, so if you're looking at this map, and Bruges should be, let's see, where is this not? Okay, so Bruges is here, where I'm pinging, if you see that. Small little area. And if
Yep.
if you scroll in and the kind of the northwest, there's Broken Forest. So it's this big forest right here. It's quite big. It's bigger than most of these kingdoms around it. So, and this is a place where elves are known to be hiding out, and bandits, and very not great place to be for a human, at least. Yeah. So go back here. Oh, wrong one. Okay. So Dev, you've been in this camp for close to a year now, kind of hiding out from the world outside, and you've been treated pretty well by these elves for the most part. They haven't even complained or said anything about your cropped ears. However, they seem to know intrinsically that you are an elf, and they treat you as such. And when they've made references to your species, they have mentioned it as an elf, or at least a half elf. So they do know this without you telling them in some way or some manner. You're not exactly sure how. However, you have known Verlia to likely to be some sort of seer or mentalist who is able to read the thoughts of people. She does it all the time, and it's I don't know how you would feel about that, but it's definitely true that she does do this from time to time. Otherwise, when you have tried to leave, or if you have tried to leave, they have prevented you, saying that it's not the right time, stuff like that, that you're not ready, and that you need to heal. Heal your soul is the way they put it, knowing of your great loss just due to probably her being able to read your thoughts. This day is not like any or is similar to any other. It's gloomy in the forest. Monsters have infiltrated parts of the forest, and lots of the elves have been very occupied with taking care of that. And I'm guessing that you probably have, uh, suggested that you might do it as well. Help out, that sort of thing. But currently on this day, you're kind of sitting in your tent alone. Do you have any inner thoughts of what she's doing in the last few days, that sort of thing? Just kind of give a little intro-ish.
I think Dev is looking restless. She's lying in her tent, and her legs are itching to walk, but at the same time, she feels like the time to leave is impending, and she's grown quite fond of these people, and never one to be able to really express her feelings or even really deal with the feelings in a healthy way. She's now almost loath to interact with people because it feels like it's going to make leaving that much harder. But she's going through her meager items, sharpening her knives on whetstones, polishing the silver blade to a gleaming sheen and a sharp edge. She's somehow managed over time to learn to braid her hair in a fashion one-handed. It feels sometimes like that's all she's learned over the past year, but something inside her feels like it has started, like a wound has started to heal over. It's still tender, but no longer an constant ache that prevents her from really wanting to think or drives her to the bottle. After there's really nothing more she can do, she only has her armor, her knives, her swords, and her boots. She looks around the tent, folds up her blanket neatly, and walks to the flap and folds it open, looking out at the elves she's come to know and maybe not think of as family. That seems too dangerous. People come and go so quickly and leave her just when she's getting close to them. But she is quite fond of them all.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Emerges from the tent and waves to the nearby people.
Yeah, there's a few elves that you know that have congregated around a small fire, but over there, over the top of them, walking in the background, is Verlia, who goes by Veer usually. She walks around the camp and approaches you. She's a bit strange of a woman in general. But her appearance is as well. She has these blood red eyes with no pupil. Or a very small black pupil, I should say. She claims to have been, changed with magic when she was a child, and she hasn't really said what has been changed. She only refers to it for her appearance, but you figure there's probably, if it's true, um, probably something else as well, perhaps her magical abilities. Regardless, she approaches you and kind of gives a bow and says, you've woken, and here we are this day. I think it is a day you will find most interesting."
Dev kind of cocks an eyebrow and says, "Morning, Vi. Why do you think that might be? Everything looks," and she kind of looks around, "about the same as it always does."
"For now, we will have guests later."
"Guests? What kind of guests?"
"Men."
She waggles her eyebrows a little and says, "Well, can't ever have too many of those." "Well, maybe you can, but..." And she looks around, she says, "Maybe some fresh blood wouldn't do us any harm."
She chuckles. "Human men. Friends yours, I think."
Her heart kind of skips a beat, and she says, "What do you mean? Human men, friends of mine? I don't think I have any human friends. None left."
She gives a slight shrug. "I dreamt of it. I couldn't say exact."
"Well, dreams are strange things, and I take you at your word. I suppose it's just... we'll have to wait and see what the day brings." But now her heart's beating fast, and she's looking around almost as if she expects people to emerge through the trees as they're talking, and has no idea who they could possibly be.
She falls and says, "And today, I think, is the day that you will finally open your wings. Finally
Wing, you
be
mean?
free."
My wing, you mean? And she just kind of, flaps one arm.
Yes, I had almost forgot. It is like you barely need it."
She kind of looks down at the arm that ends at the elbow, and at the sleeve tucked neatly underneath it and tied off with a silken cord, and she says, "Hardly think about it anymore. I'm not really that person anymore. Dev with the bow. It's like she was a dream."
Even the youth, and I say this not to be insulting, but your human half pulls and makes time quicker than we, the Anshe, see it.
I reckon that's so. How old is you anyway, Vi?
Oh, aged beyond counting. I have seen these trees grow from saplings. And these are, massive trees,
And
Hundreds
Dev
of years.
kind of feels some respect at that. She often feels her age at, she's 85 years old, but compared to that, still, in her infancy. Well, can see why you stay here then. Out there, the world, it changes so fast.
It is not safe for our kind, and our kind is fleeting.
Well, that's a shame as far as I'm concerned. Only people that have treated me decent in a long time.
Well, I hope so. But, it It is tough being isolated from the world. It is difficult. My people want to see places. This used to be our land everywhere, from the sea to the mountains. And now we hide?
I think your time will come. I think these things, they must go in waves. And the way man acts so rashly and so eager to kill each other, you need wait not too much longer and perhaps the world will be yours again.
Or the monsters that have ravaged this place will kill us all.
Yeah, she kind of shudders at that, but at the same time she kind of thrills at the mention of monsters. Part of her still has that bloodlust and eagerness to look death in the face. Well, they won't be bothering you here as long as I'm around.
She smiles and says, I'm sure not. And with that, we'll switch scenes. Let me make sure I get the right one. Okay, let me... Okay. Might not work, huh? Okay. So Dev, I'm putting your token up there. Activate. For the three of you, you have left the keep on the east side of Bruges, and it was decided to take the Brockleham path. You're escorted with the healer, Lady Silver, also Coraline, and also your guide, an elf, Erovar. He was someone under the employ of the Red Knight, and so he is best suited to lead you through the forest in order to bypass the sections in the middle of the kingdom occupied by a different warlord. You've just entered the mangled trees, the gnarled branches, the vines, the brush. Everything seems to want to trip you or impede your progress. It kind of gives a bit of a gloam to your travels. Now, Alvarovar has told you it should take 2 days along the outskirts of this forest to bypass the parts of Bruges you need to in order to get to the wedding. So you have 2 days of travel in this ahead of you, apparently. And if you want to give me some role play as you're traveling along, let's do it.
Okay,
You're afoot, remember.
We're not mounted.
What's that?
Turn.
We're not on horses.
No.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah.
We turned Ghost's volume up. I could barely hear him when he was talking.
Did you say something?
Yeah, he was saying something and I couldn't hear him.
It's still low?
Yeah, it's still a little low, yeah.
Yeah, a little low.
Gotta fix it.
Okay.
Any better?
Yeah, that's better, I think.
A little better, yeah.
Cool.
So is Carthis currently wearing his armor, or is he wearing the Red Knight's armor?
I think the only option is the Red Knight's armor. I'm pretty sure mine was either taken or broken in the fight before I was enslaved.
I think they had it for you, but I don't know that you would be able to carry around an extra set of plate mail, you know?
Yeah, I would probably just wear the red, so I'd probably wearing the red Sir Luther's armor in that case.
Okay, so we're following Elrovar through this, thicket and through this tangled wood. Dryden's looking around and he's taking note of everything. He's watching Elrovar. He's watching the companions, but he's especially keeping an eye on Corlin, not really trusting her completely, not having full faith in the situation he finds himself in. He's keeping an eye on her, but he's happy to have the company, especially from Craith and Sir Carthis. He's still somewhat spirited by the reunion with Sir Carthis, enough so that to break the monotony of trying to get through these thick woods, he pushes a branch out of the way and looks over at Sir Carthis and so, how is it fitting into that armor? Do you fit okay? Or do you find it a little too big in the crotch area?
And Carthis, he has his helmet up for his plate mail helm, and he smiles. Well, Dryden, you could always adjust the crotch. There's straps for that part of the armor. It's adjustable, fits any man, but it fits just fine. I do miss my armor. I had worn that through many battles, and it is special to me. This is a bit uncomfortable around the wrists, if I'm to be honest.
Well, the armor looks stiff. Looks too uncomfortable. I do not think I could fight in it. I hope you can do good.
But you have training of a different kind, Dryden. A witcher in armor ill suits them, as far as I understand it. I'm trained for these sort of things. Not particularly well, but well enough.
Dryden looks down at his leather armor and he takes his right hand and he smacks it over his left forearm as to like he's tapping the top of a car, like pounding on it. Armor is like a second skin, just like the sword is an extension. I don't think I could fight in someone else's skin. I'm glad it's not me.
Yes, this skin, as you call it, is a bit different, but moving around in it now, I'm starting to get a feel for it. I think that if trouble does come, or rather when trouble comes, I'll be ready.
And Dryden chuckles and nods and turns back his eyes back to Elrovar and Carolyn as they proceeds forward through the thick brush.
And Carthis will look over to Craith. And what about you? Are you feeling better being out of those chains? They looked rather uncomfortable to wear. They were made specially for you, I think.
Craith, as he steps to his left and pushes a gnarly branch away from his face, it catches in his hair briefly, and he puts it out. Oh, I'm doing much better now. I'm out in the back of a wagon being jostled about, and my wrists... yeah. The scars will take a long time to heal. Magic cuffs they were. Demetrium? Something gnarly. Nasty. But I'm enjoying myself plenty. Listening to you old friends catch up. Can you remind me again? How did you come to know each other? You fight like old brothers. Or old lovers, rather.
Well, I can say from my end how we encountered one another. We were foes at first, a long time ago. Fight on the road. Unfortunate situation where I think any man who fights a witcher is in an unfortunate situation, and we were unfortunate enough to fight too, one of which was Dryden here, but thankfully we had common goals and common purpose when we all talked about it, and we took things from there. Ended up working alongside one another for a time.
I, for one, will
Dryden,
count
good men.
myself... yes. I, for one, will count myself lucky that I've fallen in with somebody capable of reason, turning a foe into a friend. And though, dare I say, Dryden, Witcher, you will find no gold upon my person.
Gold? I am not needing your gold. And Sir Carthis, what he meant to say was, he tried to kill me, and I didn't let him.
Yeah,
Let's
Carthis.
just keep that
Carthis
sort of
smiles.
arrangement.
What did
Yeah,
Sir Carthis say?
Carthis looks at Dryden, and he does look solemn for a moment, thinking when they both met. And I do not know that I ever said it, but your friend or your companion, I am sorry that he perished in that fight. It was not something that we wanted, I assure you. An old wound, but I do not believe that I ever said anything of it.
And Dryden stops right there as we're walking, and he just stops, stands still for just a moment. He looks down and he closes his eyes. He nods his head a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, but he raised his sword to you just as you did to him. He knew what the outcome could be, as we all do when we raise our swords. That was his. It was his time. Let's not waste any more time being sorry for our past. We have a future to walk towards. Let's continue walking towards it. And then he continues following Elrivar.
Well said. Carthis will fall in.
Yeah, Lady Silver looks over to Dryden and says, "As a healer, I have always had a fascination with scars. I hope it is not untoward of me to ask about the one on your face, the burn scars. How did that occur? Witchers must have many scars."
And when she says that, witchers must have many scars, instinctively, Dryden touches his chest with his right hand as well, knowing he has some scars there on his chest. And then he, without looking up at her, continuing to walk, "Yes, well, these scars here, they were from an evil mage. He was throwing fire around. He was throwing fire like an axeman throws an axe. Shooting it, using it, wielding it as a weapon. It was my combat with him that allowed him to throw that fire at me. I had to do what I had to do. Step into those flames. To take him down if I could. For the sake of others. And this is the scars I carry with me on my face. For everyone to see. And to remind me of my past." And he takes his hand down back from his chest and just continues walking.
She just looks after you and doesn't say anything in response, but eventually Elrivar says, "Alright, we need to be quiet now. We're going through a dangerous area."
What's the danger, so that we might be prepared?
Well, the men, of course. If they hear us, they're coming to the forest. From afar, of course.
Ah, I see.
He seems a little being a little sketch, I guess. I think. I don't think it's he's not much of a liar, so it's pretty clear he's not being completely truthful about something, I would say.
It seems like he's being untruthful about what the danger is, or he's just not being very non-specific.
Yeah, well, I think he's about what the danger is. Yeah. You do believe he thinks there is some sort of danger, but
I think, yeah, if it's clear, Carthis will clear his throat. Elvivar, it's. I know that you are just to guide us, but we are all out here alone together, and if there is a threat that we might face, it would be better for us to know precisely what it is, that we might work with one another.
well, you see, it's the Dryads. They live in this forest. Sorry, I didn't want to speak their name. Sometimes they say it's bad luck that they'll come. But yes, the Dryads, they hate men, and if they see me leading them, then I would be punished as well, I would assume.
Dryads? And I don't think Carthis has ever heard of these.
Yeah, you can do a lore check if you want. Just a challenging one.
I'm sure Dryden, being a witcher, is familiar with dryads.
Yeah, you would be. Yeah, the dryads basically that you know, and that you know are you might even know some personally, right? Or did at one time, because you're pretty old too. I don't know how old Dryden is, but I'm guessing he's similar to DevNet's age.
Yeah, I believe we discussed last time he was a little over 100.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, they're usually protectors of this forest, and some are like the leaders of certain groups of elves and such. Obviously, this forest is generally off limits to humans, the very least.
And as soon as Elrovar mentions dryads and having concern, Dryden immediately focuses his attention to his medallion to see if there's any kind of change there.
No, I don't know. They're not monsters. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
I don't think it would shake anyway.
Yeah, Carthis will look to Dryden, not knowing what they are. Are you familiar with these things, Witcher?
Yeah, Dryden would proceed to go ahead and just give like a cursory summary of his knowledge of the dryads, without getting into too much detail, letting him know that they're forest spirits essentially. They can be cruel if not respected, but we have no disrespect and no ill intent towards them or their land. I am hoping that they will let us pass peacefully.
I have an idea. If you will entertain it. It's getting dark. I would not want to camp here, but there are some elves I know that live close. We could go to them.
Will
Seek
they be
solace?
amenable to us?
I'm sure they would, yes.
Well, Elvivar, you are our guide in this place. I will put my faith in you if everyone else is in agreement.
I don't think we have many other options, Craith says as he steps along. A few other branches kind of reach out and cling to his body and his kind of matted down hair. And it's very clear that he's extremely respectful now to the trees as he gently moves the branches from his path rather than swatting them away and cursing.
Okay, follow me then. It's a bit off the path. A couple miles this way. And
And
he ducks under a bunch of limbs and starts taking you kind of off the little path that's here. Go ahead, Dryden.
yeah, Dryden still not having full faith or trust in the people we're following. Carolyn, Elvar, maybe a little more, but still, these are people we just met. When he says we're going to take you off the path, Dryden just becomes more aware of the positioning, the feel of the swords on his back, aware that he's ready to use them should he need to.
Can you give everyone give me a desperate perception skill check?
Hey,
It's a minus.
all minuses.
Okay. Yeah. So you.
It's the forest for the trees.
Yeah. And the tree ant stomps on your head. No.
What's grabbing my leg?
You travel for probably another hour, and by the time Elrovar thinks you're close, it's nighttime. And then switching over here. Whoops. One sec. Where'd that go? Bear with me. You come and you look at you see a firelight coming from the middle of kind of a open area in the forest. As you get closer, you kind of can make out people and tents and that sort of thing. However, as you get closer, Elrovar says, "Oh, stop walking!"
Yeah, stop.
And you hear the kind of the creak of a bow of like dozens of bowstrings being pulled back, and one woman approaches you. Grab the wrong one. She is this. Most elves are beautiful, but she has this deadly kind of odd, off-putting look to her, even though she would, her features would be considered beautiful, except she has extremely red eyes and small black pupils. She has a small rune, either it looks like it's tattooed into her forehead, and she gives a bow, and she says, "Welcome to my solace. I would ask that you not break the peace here."
Carthis will pull up his visor. "And we will not seek to break it. We followed the word of our guide, that you might be able to offer shelter to us. We seek no quarrel, only a place to stay for the eve."
Yes, I know. I knew of your coming. I was interested in meeting you all, as is my friend. And she looks over her shoulder and looks at kind of a individual kind of in the shadows that you can't see.
Dev had been kind of joking around with the archers, had somehow missed them coming in, unlike her usual alert self, but she turns and spots them, and she walks toward the group with an eager bounce in her step. And as she gets closer, she looks you all over, a smile starting to form on her face, but then she keeps looking as if she's hoping someone else will be there. Then she just shakes her head to herself and she says, "Oh, that's the Carthis. I never didn't think I'd see your face again, and I know you." She points at Craith. "You're that Craith." And she squints at Dryden and says, "God's blow me if it ain't that witch of Dryden. Too ugly to die, I reckon," she says, but then grins, and there's no venom in the statement. And she comes forward and she kind of puts her arm around Sir Carthis' shoulder, that he being the one she sort of knows the best. "You remember me?"
It's been a long time. You look
By some
well, but
reckoning, it has been. Well,
Did I see DevNet? The last time I saw DevNet, it was probably before the arm thing, huh?
I
I think it was after.
I think it was after. I think it was after. Yeah.
It was after.
Because you weren't involved in that storyline at all.
Right.
I think you even met her after that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Carthis looks. Well, you look well enough, I suppose.
Well, thanks to my friends here. And she kind of looks around and nods to Varelia. Good people, these. And, well, we have so much to say to each other. But I see you aren't alone. And she kind of glances over at Lady Silver.
She curtsies to you and she says, "Yes, my name is Corlin Silver. I am a mage, just so you know, of the Lodge of Sorceresses.
Does she strike DevNet as a noble?
Give me a, I would say either give me a status roll. I would say status. Okay. So to do that, since you're new to the Foundry Module, so under attributes and skills, go past the character creation part, which is the top part, and then go to where it says attributes and skills in black, and then click on the little scroll under status, and it'll pop up a dialog box, and then you can just click those little dice by the number. Yeah, that would be. I would say yes. You do take her as a noble. She, even though she looks a little worn from road travel, she wears, expensive clothes and has an expensive locket, and her hair has a what are those things called? Not a beret, but some sort of like a lock in it that looks like it's silver or gold or something. Yeah.
So on her image, it looks like she's got eyes of two different colors.
She does. She has a purple and amber eye. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dev walks closer to her with a kind of welcoming smile, but when she sees the two different color of eyes, she kind of gives a little hissing gasp, and her one hand comes up as if she's going to make the sign against the evil eye, but she doesn't. She catches herself. And instead, she just folds her arm in front of her and gives a little bow. "Lady, I'm DevNet. I'm acquainted with your companions from long ago."
Nice to meet you. If you wish to talk in quiet, I can go elsewhere. It is not a trouble. I am here to assist in our task. Nothing more. Not to impede your needs for safety or solitude.
"Oh, well, I'm sure you'd be quite welcome, but after being on the road for so long, I'm betting that you'd like to freshen up a bit. And she kind of looks around for, some of her female friends and kind of like gestures over at Lady Corlin with her head. Perhaps you can find some place where she can refresh herself, if it's not too much trouble.
One of them nods, and they look a little apprehensive because of what you know of their experiences with humans, particularly with Craith and Sir Carthis and Lady Silver.
Hmm.
They look very uneasy with them, but they do nod. Obviously, they have been told by Virla that this was going to happen, and that they were going to come, and so they are a little standoffish, but they do escort her over to some areas where she can get some food and bathe and stuff. There's probably a pond or a pool nearby.
And Deb kind of watches her go, a smile on her face, but her eyes kind of narrowing. But then she turns back to the others and says, "Oh, come, sit by the fire. I have so much to catch up on." She goes and sits on a log, that's kind of well-worn from people's rear ends, rubbing on it, and gestures to the others to sit on similar logs or stumps that have been arranged around the fire.
Yeah, Dryden, during this conversation, during getting Lady Silver, her aides, that kind of thing. During that conversation with Sir Carthis, he was taking his traveling pack off. He was securing some things. He was taking the swords off of his back, securing them to his pack. And finally, when they start making their way around the fire on the logs, he sets his pack down next to him in the dust and steps into the fire just enough to, light his face. And he looks down at Devnet, and just the slightest grin on the corner of his mouth arches up as he looks at her, somewhat in disbelief that he's seeing her. He's just reminded of, a year or more ago when they first met and had their adventures.
Yeah, Dev takes a minute kind of composing her thoughts. She didn't know who to expect, but they never crossed her mind. So, do you have news of anyone else? From the old days? Suppose it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like everyone's gone.
Dryden sits down across from her, across the fire, and he just kind of puts his arms over his pack, rests them there. He looks over at Devnet. "I was going to ask you the same thing. It's been a while since I have seen you. It's been even longer since I have seen the others. What about Zav? Irene?
Zav.
Have you heard of any of them?"
Zav, I haven't heard from him in a very long time, but Irie, now that you mention it, there's some things I don't remember very well about a time before I came here. But I do remember that I was headed this way because I had heard something about her. What do you know? Have you heard about her?
Well, it's mostly been rumors. I've been looking for her. I've been hoping to find her. We're traveling this way now. I am anyhow, because of those rumors. There's a wedding to take place, and I am hoping to find her.
You think she's getting married?
And Dryden looks down, looks into the flames as the fire's kind of dancing. He feels a little bit of, a little emotional, surprisingly, when she says that. Well, it's a rumor anyhow. I'm going to go find out. I owe her so much, and I just want to see her at least one more time before her life goes in another direction.
Dev is just like looking at him and, trying to read him, but she knew that, they were very fond of each other. Maybe a little bit more. She's trying to be tactful. May just be a rumor, but, if you're going to look for her, then, I think I might join you. I've been imposing on these kind people quite long enough, I think. And, I'd like to see our flame-haired friend myself.
When she
If
says she
it
might
isn't
join
she.
us, yeah, when she says that she might join us, Dryden looks up and his eyes widen some, and he looks over at Carthis and Craith and looks back at Devnet. Well, you would be most welcome, company. Much more welcome, as a matter of fact. I can't imagine you smell any worse, and he looks over at Craith and Carthis, any worse than my current companions.
She looks over at Sir Carthis and says, well, traveling in armor will do that. And, but, I don't personally notice any foul aromas. But she's kind of smiling as she says it. But maybe I'm just too glad to see some familiar faces. Dryden says, you two might be traveling this way for a different reason.
Yeah, Carthis, he smiles at the stench thing. Well, you don't smell any stench because I haven't taken the armor off just yet. It does build quite a terrible aroma. He smiles. He takes the helmet off and sets it down next to the big log they're all sitting on. Yes, well, there was an oath that I made myself to try to help bring an end to the conflict in this region. I believe that Sir Luther, whom we represent, I suppose I should say we are all traveling together. We are working with Sir Luther to try to prevent Nilfgaardian influence in Bruges, help bring stability to this region. That's my purpose for heading in this direction. I want to get into this wedding that's happening, try to better understand what their plan is, and perhaps break up whatever this union is about. I think that Sir Luther might be best for this region.
Break it up, then? And you, Craith, I know we didn't know each other very well, but you never struck me as a political fellow.
Craith has busied himself, just like, Carthis and Dryden have, inventorying his belongings after he received them after being rescued. And if there's a dog around, he'll hopefully pet it and then find his way towards the fire and try to get some food from someone. Maybe after taking a bite of bread, he answers Devnet, "No, nothing so high and noble as politics. I apologize, Sir Carthis. My purpose for traveling this way is not so much going towards something, but away from something, or perhaps avoiding something. But I'd rather not get into it right now. Right now, I'd rather hitch my wagon to the threads of destiny. What are the chances, Witcher? Myself and Sir Carthage, prisoners, saved, running into you. You know each other. We stumble through brambles, over hills and under hills, and through dense forests, only to find Devnet here. If your purpose is high and noble, well, it also has the hint of destiny to it. If anything, that's what I'm after. That and a bit of coin, Devnet. Perhaps we'll come by some ere the end, eh?"
He, kind of smirks at that and says, True that. I haven't coined my name, but, whenever I find it, it seems to slip through my fingers, but still the feel of it in my purse when I have it is a good one. And then her smile kind of fades and she looks into the fire a little bit and she says, and you say, destiny. Destiny or fate, whatever it is, gives me some hope that despite everything, there's some pattern to all this death and suffering. Else, why would we be here now? And she looks up and looks at each of them. No smile on her face, just kind of a serious expression.
It's odd, like right when you say that, Virilia walks over and says, "Yes, destiny. I think you are destined to come here, all of you, and I would ask you for a favor. For my hospitality, I suppose, if we must make it transactional."
Well, for my part, you know I owe you my life and more.
Carthis, he nods. It is only fair. You offer a sanctuary against the dangers of the wood. If there is anything that I can do, I would be happy to help.
Dryden, under his breath, while he's still looking at the fire, to Sir Carthis, like, maybe she'll have you go clinking through the woods in that armor, looking for something to kill.
As long as it is a noble cause she asks of me, I see no quarrel with it.
Well, then I will ask you. It is noble. We have several of our kin that have been captured by the local warlord, not more than 10 miles from here, outside the forest. I would ask you to retrieve them for us. There is a small temporary camp that they have set up for their prisoners and their outriders going to the east. You could help me with this, free them, bring them home.
Dev kind of leaps to her feet and just says, why didn't you mention this sooner? And, how many of them? Who is it? And, you know, if you don't have names for them, she would probably just recognize whatever Virilia says.
Yeah, she actually says, it was from before that you have come. They have been there a long time.
Well, not a day longer than necessary from now on. I know that you all must be tired and need to rest, but tomorrow, with or without you, I've got to go try to free them.
You'll have us, Devnet. This is a good cause. It is, as one who was taken captive not so long ago, it is not a fine thing to be in chains. I would not wish it upon any other. I will do this thing that you ask.
Dryden starts unrolling his bedroll by the fire there, and just solemnly to himself, but out loud, fate always conspiring to get me killed. Ugh.
Craith would probably unroll his bedroll not too far from Dryden's, looking around and wiping his mouth. Why so glum, Dryden? The Witcher's sense of humor is not legendary, but please, what could happen tonight?
I am simply conveying the reality of our situation here. Yes, fate has brought us in each other's company. Fate has brought us into Devnet's company and here into this camp, and fate has yet set us on another mission that will put me further away from whom I seek. But for the grace and the gratitude to show these people and to aid an old friend, and he looks over at DevNet when he says that, we will help. And if you need me to be happy about it and smile, then... And he gives a weak, obviously fake smile when he says that. If you need me to smile, here it is, and don't forget it. I'll be by your side. Fate is not without its humor. I will go along with it.
Well,
But
for my part, I'm grateful for that. I know that you can be, well, handy in a fight, she says, kind of, as if reluctant to admit it. But
And
don't be
under,
so quick to think that, I think sometimes the quickest path can be a bit, what's the word? Circuitous.
and understanding her reluctant compliment, that it was reluctant, Dryden looks across the fire at DevNet and says, "Ah, yes. And I recall you being a little handy yourself." And as he says that, he looks to the stump.
Yeah, she just kind of smiles ruefully at that. Yes, one handy. That's DevNet these days. But the gods give, and as they take away, and I don't really feel the loss anymore. What have you... Craith, I don't even think I know your surname.
oh, Craith, I thought you were talking to Dryden still. Sorry. Um, he's a little hesitant at first. He's the youngest son of a minor noble. I don't think in that last season we ever got to where from. I'm thinking maybe somewhere in Sintra. And he looks kind of sheepishly at Devnet. And he rolls the dice. Everdale. Devnet? Certainly not a name you've heard of. It's a name I'm trying to forget. But since on the morn we'll be stomping into the forest on a heroic mission that will further bolster the legend of Sir Carthis, I can tell you the story if you would care to listen, but perhaps it's best left for the morning. Suppose that we have 10 more miles to trek through this forest. How I long for an open waterway, a rolling field, not this dense stuff.
Well, to each their own. I look around this forest and this is certainly, well, it's where I'm at my best. So you needn't worry about getting lost or being led into danger, well, unnecessarily. I have a bit of a reputation as a tracker.
Well then, I suppose we'll be off at first light. He kind of turns to Dryden and Devnet and gives you guys a fake axie sign. Now sleep, my children. And he kind of lays his head back on his bedroll.
Yeah. I think Dev sits around the fire for a little longer, just, listening to the others, maybe tell a little bit about their journey, and then retires to her tent.
Yeah. Why don't we take 5 minutes?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Just a quick bio break. Be back.
You don't know that they all died, if they all died or not.
I know that a lot of them are dead.
Embry's got to make an appearance. He's got to be alive, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. That little shit.
I
He was
love you, Sir
becoming-
Carthis. You're the best.
He was becoming a surly little shit as he got older. He was getting way too confident. He was getting way too big on me. He was talking me up too much. He could kill a witcher. Like, no, Endry, no.
Plus, he
I
also
got
had a
set on
girlfriend.
fire
That's
by
what he was trying. He was trying to impress his girlfriend. What was her name? Inland or something like that.
It was inland, yeah. It was inland. Those two and like, I think the old man died actually. There was the old sun worshipper who we saved.
Oh yeah, he did die. I think.
I think he died of old age. It was like the two of them and one other person were alive still. Everybody else had died. And I'm just like, man, life's hard.
The Johns got killed even before, or one of the Johns got killed, right?
One of the Johns got killed, and the other John swore a vengeance quest against Vampire
Sim, right?
Sim. So he's
Yeah.
probably dead. Yeah, that guy's probably also dead. To be fair, I don't think when you dedicate your life to hunting down a vampire, you're gonna have a very good time. Especially not one that Sim.
You
is
guys
playing.
killed one.
Yeah. Carthis really is just like one lucky thing after another happening, basically.
But to the people around him, they're getting fucked. Like Sim gets turned into a vampire.
Yeah. It just looks like I know what I'm doing. I really fucking don't. I'm just lucking my. I'm lucking.
I've
my
got
way
plate
through
mail.
most of this
Get out of the way.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like, it's lucking my way through most of this shit. It's like, oh man. Guess we'll get lucky and kill a vampire today. Ah shit, Sim, are you okay? Yeah. I just feel funny. Somebody bit my chest.
Why are all these weird goons following you now? Oh, I don't know.
No. Sam, no. What was Sim's guy? I can't remember.
Grimwolf.
Yeah, they put Grimwolf in a fucking coffin. They're just
Yeah.
walking around with this coffin during the day. Fucking weird, dude.
Seem
And
comfy.
that's my fault. Man. That's the way it goes in this fucked up bitch of a world.
He was part of your company, man.
Yeah.
Does everybody around you guys always get killed? So I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, the best like thing to be in a party with Sir Carthis is to be Sir Carthis. Like that's about because so far, other than Endry and Inland, pretty much everybody who has been in my group has died or had something terrible happen to them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry in advance, Craith.
I had to log into
happened-
Roll20 to get my backstory.
The funny thing, Craith, is it's already happened to you. So, you and I were both taken prisoner. You've already felt the effects of bad luck, Carthis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I get stabbed trying to save you by a guardsman? Really?
Got KO'd.
Yeah, got KO'd.
We all should be dead.
Yeah, we should all be dead. It's only by GM fiat that we are alive.
Everybody needs their comeuppance every once in a while, you know.
But it's by GM fiat we were captured too, Sir Carthis.
That's
so.
true. And you got
I
put
don't
into the
blame
fight
you
without weapons, so that's tough.
Right.
I had no clothes. I had a fucking...
All I had was
I had a
my
loincloth and these
handcuff.
fucking hands. That's it.
My
Those
bondage
are
was my
weapons.
weapon.
Oh yeah, you choked a dude.
My weapons were these two hands, and brother, I don't know how to fight.
I don't think I did anything to him. I think I cost him some APs. That's about it.
I have 0 points in brawling. It's not a good look for me.
Oh, I got a bunch of XP to spend.
Mm.
Is it 4 times the skill rank? Is that what it is?
Yes, the next
But
skill rank, yeah.
but it can be equal but not higher to the trib, right?
If it's
Like if
equal, you get to pay double.
it's equal, you pay double.
I think it's double.
Well, shit.
And you gave us 10 after that last session, right?
I believe so, 10 or 15, yeah.
It can't be above the tribute, though.
No.
Well, I
It
guess I
must be
could
it must be
raise.
10 because it shows my remaining is 12.
Yeah, it's probably 10, yeah. Alright, let's
Nice.
get back to it. So I think I heard everybody. But as you guys are falling asleep, actually you're giving tents if you want them, individual tents for each of you. The night is, I'm guessing you kind of stay up late talking and getting reacquainted and whatnot. When you separate, Sir Carthis, you notice the presence of someone as you're almost ready to fall asleep, kind of standing over you.
Oh, I mean, he's very alert, so he immediately kind of looks to whoever that presence is.
The individual kneels down, and it's actually Virilia. And she says, "I have a message for you."
Oh, yes, of course. What's the message?
She extends her hand, and in it is a flower. You're not sure what flower it is, but it's dry, and she kind of like puts her hand out and says, "Careful. When you crumble it, the message will reveal itself."
All right. Thank you. He takes it very carefully.
She says, "Do not worry. I am a diviner, a seer, and sometimes I receive messages from others from far away. This one is disturbing, I feel, even though I could not understand it. Sometimes they are encoded. I believe only you will be able to understand it. But it scares me, I must say. Be wary when opening that."
I shall. Thank you again.
She nods and steps out and leaves.
After she leaves, I will. Carthis looks at the flower pensively, trying to decide if he should or shouldn't. He eventually relents and does crumple it to see about receiving the message.
You crumple the flower, and as the parts of the leaves kind of fall off your hand, it almost becomes like dust, and it sparkles and begins to kind of billow around you, and you kind of, it seems like kind of your surroundings change slightly. It's like lighter. You're in a different place that you don't really recognize necessarily, and standing in front of you is hold on. Ah, shoot, I should have done this. It's not easy to pull a new token onto this thing, unfortunately. And now my hard drive's spinning. Oh well, we'll just do Theater of the Mind. It's Ayla, your old charge, the elf that you were constantly with for years, standing in front of you. She's been lost for such a long time, and she was struggling with some things the last time you had seen her, I believe, with the loss of her husband, and yeah.
Yeah, Carthis stiffens up, losing sense. I think that this is a message, and thinking that he's been taken somewhere. And Ava, and he looks, and he has a lot of mixed feelings.
Yeah, she actually doesn't respond to you and turns away, looking kind of out this window.
He is able to move within this
Yeah, you
visual
think
field?
you can move.
He will move towards where she is to see if he can see what she's looking at.
You get closer, and she turns around, and her face is drastically different. It's aged by 1,000 years. She looks haggard, and her skin is drooping, and her eyes are almost melting out of their sockets. And she just says, "Help me! Help me!"
I think he takes a step back. And he doesn't really know what to do. He's just trying to get out of whatever this is.
Yeah, and
Nightmare, this vision.
yeah, you like start backpedaling. You fall down, and as you fall down, it's the floor is no longer there, and you're like falling down the space, and you're like stomach, the butterflies in your stomach, and then all of a sudden you wake up, and it's morning.
He shoots awake in a sweat, and he grabs his head, thinking about how one of his greatest failures he feels failing to protect Ayla when it mattered most in his mind, failing to stay by her side as her charge, her guard, try to see her through the difficulties. And Carthis sits there for a while, maybe even until somebody comes to get him, honestly. He sits there for quite some time, contemplating this life that he has led, and if it has led anywhere of value in the end so far. This quest to try to do good, has it done any good?
Yeah, everyone else, you wake up as normal and are congregating, and the elves are packing you rations and water and so forth. Any tools you might need. They don't have much in the way of weapons, but or anything that would be useful in a fight. However, you guys notice that Sir Carthis has not come out of his tent, which is quite strange. He's usually the second one awake after Dryden.
Are you assuming I'd be last to wake?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Craith wakes last and rolls over on his left side. He kind of looks over the smoldering embers of the fire, the pale smoke rising into a pale morning sky. And he yawns and pushes himself up on his elbows. Dryden? Where's Sir Carthis? That do-gooder is typically an hour awake by now, doing calisthenics or some nonsense in the woods. Has he been dragged away by a dryad?
Dryden looks around, then he looks down at Sir Craith, who's resting on his elbows, as Dryden is fully dressed in his armor and strapping his swords to his back, securing everything. His bag, his sleeping sack, already rolled up and tucked away. I don't know where he is. In his tent, I would think. Let me look. And Dryden walks over to the tent, pushes the flap back, and looks inside. I'm assuming Carthis is in his pot or sleeping sack, wherever he was.
He's probably, I think he's probably sitting up, dressed but maybe not armored, and he's just kind of staring at the tent, at like the tent wall, basically. Not the flap, but just the wall of it.
You're not so bold, Dryden. Do not go storming into that man's tent. Perhaps he has an elf maiden astride. Who are we talking about? Walk right in. It's Sir Carthis.
Dryden snorts at that as he continues in looking and sees Carthis sitting up. He looks at him. What is taking you so long? The day has started, the sun is rising, the fire is out, my pack is secure. If we're going to do this, we need to get it done. I have somewhere to be and hopefully someone to reacquaint with. If you're going to slow me down, I might have to rethink all of this. So hurry up, get your armor on. Make sure you fasten it in the crotch tight enough for you. We're out here waiting.
Yeah, Dev is, just kind of shouldering a backpack onto her one shoulder. I guess she could probably fit it on both. She's still got half an arm. And she walks over and looks around and says, where's Sir Carthis?
Dryden looks out at her. He's in here, fumbling with his second skin.
And Carthis, he's staring at the tent flap, and he rubs his head. Is it all worth it, Witcher? Do you think?
And Dryden looks around and cocks his head slightly to the right, confused by what Sir Carthis is getting at. Is it all worth it? Well, I can't tell you if it's worth it for you. Only you are aware of what's in your own mind. But I know what I am doing is worth it to me. And since it is, get up. We've got to go.
I'll be out in a moment. And he gets up and he starts to put on his armor, just piece by piece.
Dev kind of rolls her eyes at this conversation and backs away out of Sir Carthis's hearing a little bit and, stage whispers, is he always like this in the morning?
Dryden shrugs his shoulders. I think all of these people are a little confused in the mornings. I don't know. I don't know him well enough to know if this is how he always is, but unfortunately this is how he is today. He shrugs it off and walks towards the fire. He's drinking a little bit of water out of a tin cup and pours the rest into the ashes. A little steam comes up.
And it looks like Lady Silver shows herself.
Yeah,
And,
she does. She walks out of the back. She has a completely different outfit on, but you notice that she has no pack or where she never did. So you kind of wonder if it's a magical thing. And yeah, she comes back out and says, I heard you were leaving today."
Oh, yes, we've got some business to take care of. Nothing for your ladyship to concern herself about, I'm sure.
Your friend, Virla, asked me to stay. I am gifted in the healing arts, and she believed that I could help. And you do know that there are several elves that have ailments that they could not get healed by themselves. They had been doing the best that they could, but definitely a mage with healing abilities or just even a normal healer like Aerie would have been quite helpful.
Well, what Vera says goes, and she's got uncommon good judgment. And she kind of looks around for Vera, thinking, if this lady's up to no good, Vera will figure it out before long.
Yeah, you don't know where she is. She's not there. You kind of are surprised that she hasn't seen you guys off, but nope, she's not there.
When Devnet says what Vera says goes, he kind of puffs under his breath. You would think what her master, the Red Knight, says goes. You were charged to be a healer for us on our mission, and now you're choosing to stay here. You can do what you like, I don't care. Just seems odd that you would go against your master's orders.
I am an advisor to the Red Knight. He is not my master. I am a wizard, a sorceress of the Lodge of Sorceresses. I come as I go and I do as I please. I will meet you there. Do not worry. When you arrive at the wedding, I will already be there. My charge was not to help you rescue elves.
Dryden shrugs his shoulders. Very well. We'll see you there then.
Do we have any idea of where to start looking?
Yeah,
Did
you
we
know,
get kind of
you know
instructions?
exactly where it is. Yeah,
Okay.
in that respect, Alrovar returns, and he's been, just being with his own people, even though these are not his kin. He says, yes, I know where to go. I know where to take you. I know where this fort is.
Does Dev know?
You did not see it, so you're not
Okay.
exactly sure.
Okay. Well, I guess then you're coming with us. Are you ready?
Well, I'll lead you there at the very least.
Right, right. And Dev looks over at Sir Carthis. Are you done with your clinking and clanking yet?
Yes, I am firmly clinked and clanked.
She smiles. Well, all right then. I guess a stealthy approach might be a bit much to hope for, but we'll outdo our best. And she's got more like pep and cheer in her than she has in a long time. It feels good to be actually doing something. You notice that she's got, her bandolier of throwing knives and daggers. She's fairly bristling with them, and strapped to her back, she's still got the silver sword and the witcher sword that she took from one of the witchers that attacked them. And leather armor, and that seems to be it. Maybe packing some flatbread or something. Fruit and nuts. Well, let's be on the road then. Well, not so much a road as, the opposite of one. Lead the way, Elrovar.
Looks between you and nods and um, holds his. He's got like a small walking stick at his side, and kind of like a machete in the other hand. But he's very cognizant not to cut down limbs and stuff in this forest. And after a couple hours of walking, you head back out through the Brooklyn outskirts, and then you begin to approach a fort that you see probably from a mile away from a vantage point. The fort itself is not well protected. It's in a valley, or it wouldn't be on a valley. It's on a small hill, but there's a much bigger hill where you're standing up into the forest. Clearly, they didn't choose that hill because it was too close to the forest for their liking. You might be able to get your way down there without them seeing. There is tall grasses and such, but as you get closer, it will be far more difficult because it's not. It does have a decent vantage point from the valley around it. However, there is and there also is no forest in this area. It's all been cleared thousands of years ago by men. And I think you can give some final role play, as I don't want to start this part this late.
Sure.
So any role play you have about traveling here and what your thoughts are when you see it, and maybe Sir Carthis, how he's feeling, that sort of thing. And then we'll end it.
Dev, as they approach, Dev stays as far as she can, kind of crouches down in the tall grasses and just tries to scout this place, get an idea of how many people are there. Elrovar, you knew where this was? Do you know how many men are inside?
Oh, it depends. I've seen people come and go. I don't get too close. They are definitely hostile to elves, unlike Lord Luther. But sometimes there are riders that come in and out, going east and west. Depends, I guess, who's there now.
Let me see. She looks at the others. Perhaps then stealth isn't the best approach. Rather, deception. And she kind of raises an eyebrow looking at the others.
Craith kind of exits the edge of the forest and feels as if a huge fluffy pillow has been lifted off of his chest, and he kind of looks into the open sky, and the rolling plain with the hill below reminds him of home. He looks to Devnet. Stealth? Perhaps not. I hardly think we're going to be overwhelming them. 4 of us? 5 of us? How many of them? It's a fort. We have to be creative here.
Well, that's not necessarily my strength, but I'm willing to hear ideas. I have a feeling that you're a wily one, Mr. Craith. What of you, Sir Carthis? He seemed maybe distant this whole journey.
Yes, any advantage that we could gain here. Perhaps we could act as if we're wishing to trade with them as fellow slavers, or I could do my best to impersonate Lord Luther, though he may not appreciate that if it were to change his image.
Well, he's not here, is he? And she just kind of waves at that. And what about you, Dryden? Any ideas?
Well, Dryden looks back at the forest and looks across the hill, then steps over towards Elrovar. If your people have been here for so long and your lady has known where they are, why is it only now that we are coming after them? Why have no attempts been made to rescue your people before now?
He hasn't even mentioned it to me. Are most of the elves in the encampment basically civilians, not fighters?
Well, most of them would be decent archers, definitely. It's something that they're inherently good at. But there's a couple fighters. You have seen Scoia'tael come through here and are offered shelter and stuff. So you're not, they could do something potentially. It's hard to know.
I'm sure she has her reasons. There's so
Yes.
few of them left. I don't know.
Yes, well, maybe she was waiting till fate was on her side again. It seems like fate always takes us into trouble. Here we are again. Blessed by fate. And he looks across the hill, across the grass and down the hill, and he's trying to get a good feel for the area they're in and the territory. I think maybe we'd walk up and we'd talk to them.
Play
They
it
would not be
by
expecting us
ear.
to be there to free those elves.
Yeah, Dev has been around elves so long, it's like she's suddenly looking at all of them and realizing, yeah, we don't look like a bunch of elves. I think that might be the only way. Trust to fate. It may thrust us into trouble, but gotten us out of it And really, Dryden, would you have it any other way? You want to settle down and have a peaceful life? I don't think that's... Didn't think that was in the cards for Witchers.
Dryden kind of just kneels down a little bit, grabs a handful of dirt and lets it drop through his fingers as she says that. I don't think that's either our fate. I don't think we could settle down any more than we could walk on water. I think if we walk into that camp, they would not know or expect that we'd be there to free their prisoners. We are simply travelers, headed towards a wedding. We need a place to stop and rest for a moment. And hopefully, seeing us as bedraggled humans, they let us in. There's no way we are going to be able to confront them head on. Not in a fort. We need to be invited in. That's the only way.
I like it. As close to the truth as we can keep it. That's always the best kind of lie. And with that, Dev just kind of crouches in the grass and squints at the fort. Well, I reckon we should approach by a road. You said that there were a road, like, east and west?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Let's skirt the forest here. Head toward a road some distance, and so they don't see us coming from here.
Dryden turns to Elrovar. Obviously, we cannot walk in with you.
Oh,
Only
no.
head back to your camp now. We'll take it from here.
I'll wait here. I'm supposed to take you back. When you're done, come back here and I'll take you back.
Very well. Don't show yourself.
You don't have to worry about that, Witcher.
Dryden nods at him, and he follows Devnet as we start heading towards the road that leads into the fort.
I think we can end it with how Sir Carthis has been feeling.
Yeah, I think as they're skirting to go to the road to make the approach to the fort, Carthis is deep in his own head about the last couple of years now at this point, I think,
Mm-hmm.
of how this all started, the people that have been left behind, whether they went different paths or perished or became enemies, and the more that he begins to wonder about it, the more he wonders whether or not he should have ever even left Nilfgaard. And that's just something heavy on his head as they make that move towards the road. He's grateful there's a visor on the helmet, because he is very deep in his own thoughts.
And as the four of you make your way to the road, that is where we will end it for tonight.